Hello all, this is Barbara Mann from Your Empowered You, and welcome to our video on public speaking and how to actually love it. So I know that even when I mention the word public speaking, some people have a little bit of fear. But what we're going to talk about in this video is how to really embrace public speaking, because public speaking has so many benefits. It really helps build your confidence. It really helps build your influencing skills. So you want to get into that comfortable position where you really embrace public speaking. So we're going to talk about how to prepare for a presentation and a speech. We're going to talk about what you do right before the speech, like a few minutes before. We're going to talk about how you open with the speech and then give you some tips during the presentation of how to set yourself at ease, how to handle disruptions, things of that nature. So whether you are a seasoned public speaker or you're brand new to public speaking, there are certain steps that everybody goes through on how they prepare, what they do before the speech, things of that nature. So I personally love public speaking, and it's one of those things that it does get easier over time, but the methodology on how you go through the whole process, it pretty much stays the same. So the first step, obviously, is how to prepare for your presentation. So the first thing you're always going to do is you're always going to create an outline. And this is really important because this is your stream of thought. So you want to have a good flow of how your presentation goes, an introduction, the why people are here, whatever your outline looks like, make sure that it's either done on the, if you have to do a PowerPoint, or if you have to do handwritten notes, make sure that you have a good outline that creates that flow. So you want people to understand, kind of that flow of your presentation. So make sure that you spend some time thinking about what you're going to say and if it flows well. And practice makes perfect. So no matter if you are a seasoned presenter or you're brand new, practice makes perfect. Sometimes you're going to have to practice quite a bit, and sometimes, you may just have to give it one run through your mind, or you actually get up and talk. If it's a big presentation, I would highly recommend that you actually get up, you visualize the audience, you're visualizing what you're saying, you're visualizing what the responses are going to be, you're anticipating possible disruptions, or if it's a big change management type of issue, how are people going to respond to you? And then finally, the most important thing is when you're practicing, you're visualizing a successful speech. Like, how is it going to feel once your presentation's done and you're getting positive feedback? How's that going to feel? So you really want to visualize that successful speech. So preparation is key. And if you need to practice in front of a coworker or a family member or whatever the case may be, do so and ask for their feedback, right? So right before the speech, so you come into the room, I recommend arriving early. And there's a few reasons. One is you kind of want to see how the audience is going to be arranged. Are you going to have kind of a walkway where you can go in between aisles? Are you going to be in a circle? So you kind of want to see how the audience is arranged so you can kind of get your bearings. If there's any kind of equipment, set it up, test it, make sure it works. Sometimes it doesn't. Trust me, I've had that happen. And really, when you arrive early, it gives you time to either fix the problem or just understand that maybe it's not going to work and you're just going to have to tell the audience and move on. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to get comfortable. Where are you going to stand? How is this equipment working? When people start coming in, I always greeted the participants. Hey, how you doing? How's it going? Because you're developing the rapport, you're setting the tone, you're getting people pumped up. Again, their time is valuable, so you want to get them pumped up. You don't want this to be a boring snooze fest. I'm sure we've all gone to meetings or presentations and they've been a snooze fest. You don't want your presentation to be a snooze fest. You want it to be a very good event. So now you've got everybody there. There's probably people chatting now. The audience is there, and it's time to open the speech. But you got to get everyone's attention first, right? You got to get people to pay attention to you before you start. So there's a couple ways of getting people's attention. I used to ask. I'm kind of short, and I would just say, all right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and get started. That was my opening line, no matter what kind of audience I had, whether it was a live audience, a teleconference, a video conference. That was just what I used to say. Or other people just stand where they're going to give their presentation and wait for silence. So that is sometimes a recommended way to get everyone's attention. The next step, this is important. You want to engage the audience. So the first thing is obviously thanking everyone for attending and acknowledging that their time is important and you know, things of that nature, because time is important. Your coworkers' time is important. But you want to engage that audience. So how do you do that? You ask them a quick question that's pertinent to the presentation. You know, how many people do you think were, you know, promoted in this year? Or what's the percentage of X? So asking a question gets people to respond, and make sure your response is just a quick answer and not some big paragraph type of thing. Or, you know, other people use kind of a humorous or a relevant story. Again, what you're trying to do is engage people and get their attention before you even talk about the meat and potatoes of the speech. Okay? So now we've done the opening, we're getting into the meat and potatoes of the presentation. You still want to keep the audience engaged. So you keep asking quick questions throughout the presentation to keep them engaged. Always ask if the audience has questions, because you want to understand if people are, especially if it's like a change management type of issue, you want to understand if people are comprehending maybe whatever the change might look like, because there's going to be questions. Now, you may have disruptions, you may have people talking, that happens. So how do you prevent, not prevent, but how do you stop that? So I used to walk near the area. A lot of people walk near where, you know, folks are chatting, but you may not have the liberty to get near that person. So how do you stop it? You ask people questions. You know, get that the talking fest, get the attention on you. So ask the audience a question. And if that still doesn't work, I used to just say, oh, do you have a question? Do you have any questions on this? I see that, you know, you guys are discussing it. So do you have any questions? And that used to, in a polite way, basically let folks know that I see what's going on, and we all need to pay attention. But whatever you feel comfortable with, that will work for you. The last thing you want to do, though, is scream out and acknowledge it and make a big production of it, because you just want to be, you know, good vibe, comfortable, things of that nature. So sometimes you may have questions. You may ask the audience, do you have questions? And you may not know what the answers might be, and that's fine. You just say, I don't know, but let me follow up with you. I'll find out, and I'll follow up with you. So the key to that is make sure you follow up with someone quickly. That's really key. A lot of times I didn't know the answers to some questions. I would say, that's a great question. I don't know. Let me follow up with you. Perfectly fine. You're not going to know everything. If you make a mistake, your equipment doesn't work. That's happened so many darn times I can't even count. Just lighten up the mood, you know, kind of make it humorous, and you move on. People are forgiving. They know that things go wrong. But if you do get flustered, or you start feeling that sort of anxiety coming on, just buy some time, engage the audience with a question. So there's times where I got a little bit flustered and I'm feeling that little bit of anxiety creeping up. I'm sure we've all felt that. You know, I would just kind of buy some time, engage the audience with a question, and kind of let them give me the answer until I was back to normal and moving on. So those are just kind of little tips, and that may happen, especially if you're new to public speaking. So at the end, make sure, again, you thank everyone for their time. You know, they've come to this meeting. Maybe they wanted to come, maybe they didn't, but hopefully at the end of it, you know, they're very engaged and they're appreciative that they came. But make sure that you thank everybody for their time. And most importantly, be yourself. When you are talking in front of a group, the more authentic that you are, the more that your personality comes out. People feel that. People feel your authenticity. So be authentic. However you normally kind of present or normally talk, be yourself. I'm sure we've seen people get up there and they're very stiff and they're not really themselves. Those are boring. They're not personable. So again, be yourself. A few key things. People want you to do well, especially if they know who you are, especially if you're new to public speaking. They want you to do well. They're on your side. They're pulling for you. So keep that in mind. People want you to present well. They want your speech to go well, especially, again, if you're a coworker. They know this is hard to do, especially if you're a coworker. It's your first time out. They know that it's hard. So they want you to do well. And remember that. That's always like keeps your nerves it calms your nerves. You practice and visualize. So practice standing up, moving your hands. Moving your hands isn't necessarily a good public speaking. I tend to move my hands, but moving them too much is kind of annoying. But when you move your hands, you're kind of showing that you're not just that robot there. But practice, visualize that great speech. Don't dwell on mistakes if they happen, because they will happen. And finally, be yourself. Be authentic. People will feel that. So I hope that you have enjoyed our video on public speaking and how you can love it and embrace it. Because public speaking can be really fun. It can help boost your confidence. It has so many different positive aspects to it. And again, building that confidence and getting comfortable in front of a group, especially coworkers, is very uplifting. So get your own style, practice with people if you want, and if you'd like to work with me, I would love to work with folks on how to give a great presentation. So for more resources, or to visit my website and to schedule a session with me, please visit my website at www.yourimpoweredyou.com, or you can email me directly at bman@yourimpoweredyou.com, or you can give me a buzz at 916-633-2555. And I thank you very much, and I hope you have a very empowered day. Thank you.